Listen, life is a battlefield. Every day we wake up facing choices, challenges, and opportunities. And the truth is, success isn't just about hustle, grit, or strategy. It's about alignment. It's about putting God first in every aspect of your life. Because when you do that, everything else falls into place. So let me ask you, what's driving your life? Are you chasing success, money, status, or approval? Or are you aligning with the ultimate source of strength, purpose, and fulfillment? If you want to go higher, if you want real, lasting success, not just in your career, but in your relationships, health, and happiness, you need a foundation that never shakes. That foundation is God. The order of your life determines the outcome of your life. When God is first, everything else flows from that source. But when He's an afterthought, everything feels like an uphill battle. Think about it. When you start your day, what's the first thing on your mind? Is it stress? Is it your to-do list? Is it scrolling through your phone, checking messages, checking emails, reacting to the world before you've even set your intention for the day? Or do you take a moment to connect with something greater than yourself? Because the way you start determines the way you continue, and the way you continue determines where you end up. When God is at the center, life has clarity. You move with purpose. You don't just react to life, you create it with intention. But when God is an afterthought, everything feels scattered. You chase success, you chase money, you chase approval, always running, always striving, always feeling like there's something missing. And that's because there is. You weren't designed to do this alone. You weren't built to rely solely on your own strength, your own intelligence, your own willpower. You were created to walk in alignment with something greater. And when you do that, everything changes. Doors open that you could never force open. Opportunities come that you didn't even see coming. You stop worrying so much about what other people think because you're locked into something deeper, something unshakable. But when you put other things first, your career, your goals, your plans, without a strong foundation, it's like building a house on sand. The moment pressure comes, the moment struggle hits, everything feels like it's crumbling. Not because you're not strong enough, not because you're not smart enough, but because your foundation wasn't built to hold the weight of everything you're trying to carry. God is that foundation. When He's first, everything else finds its place. Your decisions become clearer. Your path becomes straighter. Your battles feel lighter because you're not carrying them alone. This is the shift that changes everything. And it starts with a simple decision. Who comes first in your life? Success without purpose is an empty victory. You can have the money, you can have the status, you can have the admiration of the world, and still feel like something is missing, because success by itself is not the goal. It was never meant to be. You weren't created just to accumulate things, to chase titles, to climb ladders that lead nowhere. You were created for something deeper, something greater. And if you don't align with that purpose, nothing will ever feel like enough. Look around. How many people seem to have it all, but are still searching for meaning? How many people reach the top only to realize the top is empty? They have the cars, the houses, the recognition, yet inside they feel unfulfilled. Because real success isn't about what you have, it's about who you become. And who you become is determined by what you seek. If you chase the world will take everything from you and leave you hollow. But if you seek God first, He fills you with something that can't be taken away. Peace, clarity, purpose. When you live for something bigger than yourself, success isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about the impact you make along the way. It's about the lives you touch, the people you lift, the legacy you leave. Because at the end of your life, no one is going to talk about how much money you made. They're going to talk about the difference you made, the love you gave, the purpose you lived out. That's the kind of success that lasts, the kind that fulfills. And that kind of success only comes when you stop chasing what the world says matters and start seeking what God says matters. It starts with one question. Are you pursuing a life that looks good on the outside, or are you building a life that feels right on the inside? Faith unlocks doors, hustle cannot. Hard work is important, discipline is essential, but faith multiplies effort. It takes what you can do and adds what only God can do. Because there are limits to hustle, there are limits to strategy, there are limits to what sheer willpower can accomplish, but there are no limits to what God can do. When you trust Him, you step into supernatural favor. Opportunities show up that you didn't chase. Doors open that you never knocked on. Breakthroughs happen that logic can't explain, and things align in ways you never imagined. Because faith is a force. It's not just belief. It's action based on trust. It's moving forward when you don't have all the answers. It's stepping out when you can't see the whole path. It's knowing that even when you don't have control, God does. And that's when the impossible becomes possible. That's when obstacles become stepping stones. That's when setbacks become setups for something greater. Because hustle alone can only take you as far as your own strength. But faith takes you beyond. Faith is what gives your work meaning. Faith is what gives your effort direction. Faith is what turns struggle into testimony. Without faith, you rely on yourself. And when you rely only on yourself, stress takes over, worry takes over, doubt takes over. But when you walk in faith, peace replaces pressure. Confidence replaces fear, and suddenly you're not just working, you're walking in divine alignment. So yes, work hard, give it your all, but don't just grind. Trust, believe, move with faith, because what's waiting for you is bigger than anything you could ever achieve on your own. Fear is defeated when you walk in faith. Fear holds you back. It whispers doubts in your ear. It tells you that you're not ready, not strong enough, not qualified, and everything exists to help you accomplish what's too often just too far out of reach. It keeps you playing small. It convinces you to stay where it's safe, to settle for less, to avoid the risk. But when you put God first, you realize He's already paved the way. You just have to step forward in faith. Fear tells you to wait until you're certain. Faith tells you to move even when you're not. Fear says, what if you fail? Faith says, what if God has already made a way? Fear makes problems look bigger than they are. Faith reminds you that nothing is bigger than God, because the truth is, fear only has power if you listen to it. It only controls you if you give in to it. But the moment you decide to walk in faith, fear loses its grip. Because faith doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you won't let fear stop you. It means you trust God more than you trust your doubts. It means you step forward even when you don't see the whole path. It means you believe that if God called you to it, He will bring you through it. Every great breakthrough happens on the other side of fear. Every great blessing requires a step of faith. Every great success starts with someone who refused to let fear win. So what are you waiting for? What has fear been keeping you from? What dream, what goal, what purpose have you been putting off because of doubt? It's time to stop waiting. It's time to stop hesitating. It's time to move, because God is with you, because He's already made a way, because the only thing standing between you and the life you're meant to live is the fear you're ready to leave behind. Discipline is easier when you live with purpose. When you know who you serve, making the right choices becomes clear. There's no confusion. There's no hesitation, because your decisions aren't just about the moment. You're living for something bigger. Temptations lose their power when your focus is locked in. Distractions don't pull you away when your purpose is stronger than your excuses. You stop asking, should I, and start saying, I must. Because when you live with purpose, discipline isn't about restriction, it's about direction. It's not about what you're giving up. It's about what you're stepping into. It's about the life you're building, the impact you're making, the calling you're fulfilling. And when that calling is clear, discipline stops feeling like a burden. It becomes second nature. It becomes fuel. Because you're not just working for a paycheck. You're not just going through the motions. You're not just trying to impress people or prove yourself. You're on a mission. And missions require focus. Missions require sacrifice. Missions require saying no to anything that doesn't align with the vision. That's why the strongest people aren't the ones with the most talent. They're the ones with the most commitment. The ones who wake up every day and stay the course. The ones who don't get sidetracked by comfort, laziness, or excuses. The ones who understand that discipline isn't about punishment, it's about progress. Because every small decision you make is shaping your future. Every choice is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. Every moment of discipline is building something greater in you. And when you put God first, when you walk in purpose, discipline is no longer a struggle. It's a gift. It's a path to something greater. It's the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. So keep going. Keep choosing what's right over what's easy. Because when you live with purpose, every sacrifice is worth it. Your mindset shapes your reality. Everything you do, everything you achieve starts in your mind. You're either operating in faith or fear. There is no in between. Every decision, every action, every reaction comes from one of these two places. When fear controls your mind, you see obstacles everywhere. You hesitate, you doubt yourself, you focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. You replay past failures instead of believing in future victories. victories. And without even realizing it, you start shrinking, you start settling, you start living beneath your potential. But when God is first, your mind shifts. You stop dwelling on limitations and start believing in possibilities. You stop focusing on what you don't have and start seeing what God has already given you. Your thoughts stop being driven by fear and start being fueled by faith. And faith changes everything. Faith makes you see opportunities where others see obstacles. Faith makes you take action where others hesitate. Faith makes you speak life over your situation instead of letting your situation define you. Because the truth is, your mind is either working for you or against you. And when your mind is aligned with God, it becomes your greatest weapon. Doubt loses its grip. Worry fades into the background. Fear no longer controls your decisions because now you're walking in confidence. Now you're moving with purpose. Now you're seeing your life not through the lens of your past, but through the vision of your future. So ask yourself, what are you allowing to shape your mindset? Are you feeding your faith? Or are you feeding your fear? Because whatever you focus on grows. And when you put God first, when you renew your mind daily, you don't just think differently, you live differently. You step up, you take action, you move with boldness. Because you know that the God who created you didn't put you here to live small. He put you here to rise, to grow, to impact, to become everything he called you to be. And it all starts in your mind. Relationships thrive when God is the foundation. Love, trust, and connection grow when you put God at the center of your relationships. Without him, relationships are built on emotions, circumstances, and personal desires, things that shift and change with time. But when God is first, relationships gain strength. They become rooted in something unshakable. They're no longer just about what you can get, but about what you can give. Because real love isn't just a feeling. It's a commitment. It's a choice to honor, to support, to uplift, even when it's not easy. And when God is in the center, that choice becomes clearer. It transforms marriages. Instead of two people trying to meet each other's needs from a place of emptiness, they are filled by God first. They don't just rely on each other for strength. They rely on him. They forgive faster. They communicate better. They love deeper because they're not loving from their own strength, but from God's. It transforms friendships. When God is first, friendships are built on trust, not competition, on honesty, not pretense, on encouragement, not envy. You stop looking at people as what they can do for you and start seeing them as who God created them to be. It transforms business partnerships. Integrity becomes the priority. Decisions are made not just for profit, but for purpose. Success is measured not just in numbers, but in impact. Because when God is the foundation, everything changes. Ego takes a back seat. Pride is replaced by humility. Selfishness is replaced by service. And suddenly, your relationships aren't just surviving, they're thriving. Not because of perfect circumstances, not because of flawless communication, but because of an unshakable foundation. A foundation built on love, trust, and faith. A foundation that doesn't break under pressure. A foundation that strengthens every connection in your life. Because when God is in it, relationships don't just last, they flourish. Your struggles are your training ground. Every challenge is an opportunity to trust God more. Every setback is a setup for something greater. But in the moment, it's hard to see. When life gets difficult, when obstacles appear, when things don't go as planned, the first instinct is to ask, why is this happening? Why the delay? Why the disappointment? Why the pain? But what if you asked a different question? What if instead of asking, why is this happening, you asked, what is God teaching me? Because nothing is wasted. Not the struggle, not the frustration, not the moments that feel unfair. Everything you go through is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you. The pressure you feel, it's making you stronger. The waiting season, it's teaching you patience, faith, and endurance. The obstacles, they're not there to stop you. They're there to grow you. Because if everything came easy, you wouldn't develop the strength you need for the next level. God allows the struggle not to break you, but to build you, to refine you, to teach you how to trust him when you can't see the way forward. Because real faith isn't tested in comfort. It's tested in challenge. It's tested when things don't go according to your plan. It's tested when everything in you wants to quit, but you choose to keep going. And when you do, you start to see the bigger picture. You realize that the struggle isn't a punishment. It's a process. It's molding you into the person you were created to be. So don't run from it. Don't resist it. Lean into it. Because the very thing you think is holding you back might be the thing that's preparing you for something greater. And one day you'll look back and realize everything you went through wasn't just for you. It was so you could help someone else. It was so you could stand stronger, love deeper, lead better. Because God never wastes a struggle. He uses it. And when you trust him, he turns it into something greater than you ever imagined. Giving is the secret to abundance. When you give, your time, your resources, your love, you tap into an endless supply. It's a law of the universe, one that's woven into the very fabric of creation. The more you give, the more you receive. But this isn't about giving with the expectation of getting something in return. It's about giving because you trust that God is your ultimate source. He is the one who provides. He is the one who replenishes. And when you give freely, you open the door to blessings that go beyond what you could ever imagine. You're not just giving to others, you're sowing seeds into your own future. When you give, you align with his heart. You reflect his generosity, his love, his grace. And as you pour out, he pours in. It doesn't always look like a financial return. It might be peace when you need it most. It might be the strength to face a difficult challenge. It might be the relationships that come into your life because of your generosity. You might give your time to someone who's struggling and in return find yourself uplifted by their gratitude. You might give your resources to someone in need and in return experience an overflow of joy that money can't buy. When you give, you become part of something greater than yourself. You become a conduit of God's blessings, passing them along to others. And in doing so, you position yourself for more. You position yourself for more love, more opportunities, more peace, more joy, more abundance. Because abundance isn't just about having more, it's about living with an open heart, ready to pour out as much as you receive. It's about realizing that you can't outgive God. No matter how much you give, he always gives more. And when you live with this mindset, you stop living in scarcity and start living in overflow. Because giving is not just the secret to abundance, it's the path to a life full of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. A legacy is built on faith, not just achievements. Success fades, money comes and goes. Titles and accolades may be impressive, but they don't define your true impact. The real measure of your life isn't found in what you accumulate or how much you've done, it's found in who you've become and the lives you've touched. And when you put God first, your impact goes beyond what the world can see. Because faith doesn't just change you, it changes the world around you. It's the unseen force that transforms everything you do. It's the foundation on which lasting legacies are built. What matters isn't just what you achieve, it's what you pour into others along the way. It's the love you give, the wisdom you share, the encouragement you offer, the example you set, the integrity you uphold. These are the things that leave a lasting imprint. When you walk in faith, you live with purpose, you live with intention, and that purpose outlives the temporary achievements of this world. It outlives the titles, the wealth, and the status, because the true legacy you leave behind isn't about what you had, it's about what you gave to your family, what you gave to your friends, what you gave to your community, what you gave to strangers in need. When you put God first, you're not just building a career, you're building a legacy of love, faith, and impact. You're shaping the next generation, not just through what you leave them, but through the example you set. The seeds you plant today are the trees that will grow in the lives of those you influence. And those seeds, they're planted in faith. Faith that your actions matter, faith that your influence will ripple through time, long after you're gone, faith that even when the world forgets your name, the impact of your life will continue to change hearts and lives for generations to come. Because a legacy is not just about what you do, it's about what you believe. And when you build on faith, that legacy lasts forever. So remember this, true success isn't measured by what you gain, but by what you give. It's not about the accolades you collect, but about the love and impact you leave behind. When you put God first in everything you do, your life becomes a testimony to his faithfulness, his goodness, and his power. Your legacy will not just be a story of achievements, it will be a story of faith, of lives touched, of hearts transformed. And when you stand before him one day, it won't be the titles or wealth that matter. It will be the faith you walked in, the people you loved, and the impact you made by choosing to live for something greater than yourself. So choose today to build a legacy that lasts, one that is grounded in faith, fueled by purpose, and rooted in love, because that is the legacy that will never fade.